You know how they say we parent the way we were parented, or we do the complete opposite? Well, my journey to create and grow up with Suit started long before I had my little gremlin. It started when I was a gremlin. I can remember moments of having that grit throughout childhood. I was always that kid that knew she couldn't give up. There were moments that I knew I had to take risks and speak up and do things that were different from my core family unit. I remember I would break a lot of rules. Definitely challenged authority. That was that gangsta in me. Like, it was almost surreal because I knew that I didn't fit in. And the challenges that were either for my parents or obviously for myself growing up and, becoming my own human being, becoming my own woman, pursuing the things that I have pursued in life didn't just come genuinely or naturally. I had to fight for it. If I could tell y'all a time where I had to fight to go to college, might sound silly. It does sound silly. But I remember growing up, being 19, 20, how old was I? I know I took 1 year in between high school and starting college. So it's 19, yes, 19. That I remember standing my ground and saying, I need to educate myself. There was something in my mind. There was something in my soul that was saying, I need to. I'm going to. Watch me do it. And guess what, y'all? I did it. I even went all the way up to getting my master's in business administration with a concentration in forensic accounting. And I'm damn proud of myself. Because if I didn't speak up for myself and I didn't show that gutsy, rebellious nature, I wouldn't have gained the education and knowledge and expertise that I have today. I am a Pakistani-born American. I moved to America with my 4 other siblings and parents when I had just turned 3 years old. So I'm basically American. I don't know how I can call myself Pakistani American when I know for sure I'm just American through and through. I have roots for sure. I am grateful for the opportunity to be raised in a first world country. I want to pay homage and thank my parents for doing that smart thing of bringing their family over, for living a better life and pursuing that American dream. Whatever that may be, right? But growing up with the challenges of being raised as a Muslim, Pakistani girl in America had its own challenges. If I dive just a little deep into religion itself, because I'm not here to challenge anyone, oppose anyone, encourage anyone about religion and what they should do and should not do, because to each his own. I stand by that value of, just be a good human being. Be kind. That's what I teach the values I tried to teach in my children and tried to instill in them. That we're all kind, we're all good. Religion is not going to define me. And unfortunately, there were things that were experienced by my siblings and I that I felt were unfair or didn't make sense to me. Perfect example. I questioned the religion. I questioned why we had to pray 5 times a day or recite the Quran multiple times. And if I didn't do that, I wasn't holy or I wasn't good enough. And I didn't get it because I would repeat things. I was taught how to read Arabic. And I just never really understood why a book had to tell me how to act and feel. I personally do not believe that a book needs to tell me that I should be a good person. That should be something that from inside of me, that soulful, that heart, that feeling should be there. So, I apologize for digressing into that a little bit, but that was one of the, if not the most pivotal, rebellious things I've ever done is to question and challenge the religion that I was brought up in. I currently do not practice a religion. I do believe in a higher power. I respect everybody and anyone that believes in whatever they want to believe in, however they want to believe in it, as long as y'all don't impose it on me or my children. I do things my way. I have that fearless resilience in me that will push through and will question the things that just don't feel right. I think I am really good at being gutsy. I try, for the most part, to listen to my gut. And it has served me well. I am grateful for where I am in this stage of life. So if I had to tell y'all about what kind of influences or influencers I had in my childhood, the little that I can remember, believe it or not, my long-term memory is not so great. I was actually hit by a car when I was 7 years old, and my husband believes that it definitely messed with my brain a bit. Not that it messed me in my brain to not be bold. Definitely bold. Maybe it made me even stronger. That grit to persevere, to live. So if I had to go to the topic of having, like, what was something that piqued my interest or who piqued my interest of wanting to be like that person, so an idol, idolizing someone. I remember thinking, and one day at a book fair when I was young, we were poor, we didn't have much money, but I remember those rare times that we were able to, buy a book from the school book fair that we had. I had bought a Princess Diana book, and I remember it was a little autobiography, a hardcover book, if I remember correctly. It was purple with her beautiful face in the front, and it was just a 20-page photo book. And I remember being so proud of it and feeling so nice to have it and buy it, because I knew my mother also loved Princess Diana, and she idolized her, and how she would speak about how back in Pakistan that they had watched her get married on television, and that was such a big deal. But the more I think about it in depth now, the reason why I liked Princess Diana was because of her guts. She was a movement. She was amazing. She pushed envelopes. She did what she wanted to do. She tried to keep and stood in her poise of getting things done. And she'll always be remembered, and it's unfortunate she passed the way she passed, but she definitely left a legacy. That's empowering. That's bold. That's amazing. Now, another I influence, if I had to talk about, I don't know why, but it always comes to me, and it's come to me more recently in my thoughts of loving the red trench coat Carmen Sandiego back in the 1990s, watching that show and being so intrigued and in love. And I remember being a young adult and having this red, like cherry red trench raincoat, and it was dope, y'all. I loved wearing that thing everywhere I went. And it most definitely came from that. But I loved Carmen Sandiego. And I loved the detective work and how she figured stuff out and, was bold and had grit to get it done. I don't remember much about the show, but the bits and pieces that I'm trying to put together as a puzzle now, that's what it's coming back to me as. So, if you ask me if I was ever encouraged to keep the fire, have the fire, while I was a child into young adulthood, hell no. I was definitely told to tone it down, to quiet down, to stop talking the way I talk, to mind my manners, to be respectful, to fit in a box, to hush up, it wasn't ladylike, to cover up, it wasn't ladylike, to lower my gaze, it wasn't ladylike. Yeah, there's many, many things that I recall being unfair, because I would compare myself to my brothers. I'm the youngest of the 5 children. There are 3 boys and 2 girls. And it's just organic for the younger kids to look up to the older kids. And I just remember the holy unfairness, for sure, between the boys and the girls. Now, if y'all know anything about being raised as a Muslim American and the pressure to appease and follow rules and fit in that box. At times it was astronomical. And eventually I was not about that life anymore. So, that was that. But looking back at all the moments I've had, I'm not trying to take away from my parents giving us a better life here in America than we potentially would have back in Pakistan. But looking back and noticing other girls, women being treated unfairly or not having the same opportunity as their male counterparts was started really young. One from my mother, known to all she knew was to cater, to be a housewife, to do all the things a man said. A man leads, and she is to just be a homemaker, which is totally fine. But the equality wasn't there. And I remember saying to myself, I'm never going to be my mother. I'm not going to be that woman. I was defiant. I just knew that I couldn't be that. It was like the innate feeling of there's more. There has to be more. There will be more. I will make it more. More for me. More for my encouragement. More for my enlightenment. More for me, for equality. And for all girls. Looking back, I definitely can see that this was all to prepare me for the mission that I'm on today. I am passionate about the girls embracing their fire within. And the experiences, my lived experiences, have shaped my belief that every girl deserves to be her authentic self, to be bold, to be loud, to be gutsy, to have grit, to show that gangsta side, to be her authentic self. And I'll leave y'all with this. Every scar and every victory, every moment I had to fight for my space led me here. To Girl Pursuit, and to you. And to the mission of making sure no girl ever has to dim her fire.